Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Geek Out and Speak Out. My name is Geeks. So, my last episode was about The Last of Us Part 2 PS5 Remastered. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was nice to get some of my footage on the video with some commentary. I actually really enjoyed doing that commentary. You might have been able to tell, but I wish I'd been able to do a little bit more. But you know, for the sake of the length of the video, I thought I couldn't do too much really. Anyway, enough of the past, let's look to the present. What am I going to be doing today? I'm going to be talking about Fast 10. Not Fast and Furious 10, not Fast X, Fast 10. And yeah, I've got a few thoughts about this, so let's get into it, shall we? As a disclaimer, right at the beginning of this, I just want to state for the record, and as a disclaimer, I'm actually a fan of the Fast and Furious series. I remember the first one coming out. I think it was around 2003, maybe. I could be wrong. And it started off as a street racing film, and then it just progressed and became heist movies and became more and more and more. Anyway, we'll get to that. So yeah, I'm a fan of the series. I've watched every single one. I've got them. I've had them on DVD. I've had them on Blu-ray. I've got them on my iTunes. All of these things. So I've actually watched these films numerous times over. I'm a huge fan of the films. I think they're they have their place. And then we get to Fast 10, and it's not Fast X, it's Fast 10. The X isn't a letter, it is a number, a Roman numeral. Like Saw, it wasn't Saw X, it was Saw 10 X, Roman numerals, number. Anyway. I just want to get that out there. I've mentioned it before on a previous video. I think I've mentioned it on every subsequent video since. That is Fast 10. It's just something, a little thing that just sticks in my craw and it just bugs the heck out of me. So it's the 10th film in the franchise. Yeah, I'm not surprised that they made 10 of them. And if what Vin Diesel has said to be true, on the heels of Fast 9. So many films in that franchise, that they were going to end the whole Fast and Furious franchise with 2 movies. So that will be Fast 10 and Fast 11. So the thing that I like to keep in mind now is that, in theory, Fast 10 is the first half of the franchise finale. So that's something to take into account when watching the film. I'm not going to go into the plot details, what there is of it, because I don't want to do spoilers. I just want to put my thoughts out there. I'll put my thoughts out there without spoiling anything for anyone, hopefully. Yeah, so Fast 10. Oh, it's a tough watch for me, I won't lie. Again, like I said, I'm a fan of the series, but it's just the same old thing recycled over and over again. Now the thing to take into account, these things aren't taken very seriously, shouldn't be taken very seriously, even though the lead characters, the good guys, do take themselves incredibly seriously. For me, these films should be tongue-in-cheek. They should be kind of they are out there, they are over the top, but when you look at how they're acting in the film, it's just taken way too seriously, and we are supposed to take this really seriously. Now, over the course of the whole franchise, characters have died, characters have come back to life, they've retconned things, they killed a character off in Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, only to bring him back to life seemingly in the next film, only to go back a couple of films later and say, well, yes, he did die, but he came back to life again. It's just there are no stakes in these films. As good and as fun as they are, there's no stakes in the film. If a character dies off, odds are they're going to probably come back to life at some point. So it's difficult to really get on board with these characters, because you just know that the characters are beloved by the writers, by the creators, by Vin Diesel, who's a big proponent of the series, and the thing I wanted, and the thing I thought they were going to do in Fast 8 was I thought they were going to be brave and actually do something really different. Now in Fast 8, again, this is just a sidebar, just quickly. They made Vin Diesel the bad guy, supposedly. All the marketing suggests that Vin Diesel had gone rogue and joined the bad guys, and that. But as we know, spoilers. This is the spoilers for Fast 8. He isn't the bad guy, but they should have made him the bad guy. He's played the same character from Fast and Furious, the Fast and Furious, right the way through to Fast 10, and he's had no character development whatsoever. He's the same character. He's in exactly the same place. Oh, family. If he says family more than 10 times in a film, I wouldn't be surprised. And Fast 10 is no exception. It's the same themes. It's the same. We are family. We will stick together. And just by the 10th film, I wanted something a little bit different, but again, it is the same thing recycled over and over and over again. And watching the film, even the first time I watched it, I was quite excited to watch it because I knew it was going to be, bombastic. It was going to have these great action set pieces and that. But I did enjoy it. I did, but internally, I was doing so many eye rolls. It was unreal. Because it doesn't reinvent the wheel, and no, you don't feel like any of the characters in any real peril. The saving grace for Fast 10, in my eyes, the saving grace was Jason Momoa, because one of the things that the Fast and Furious franchise hasn't really been that good at is real good villains. There's been so much focus on Vin Diesel and his family and all the good guy stuff. There hasn't really been a huge focus on the bad guys. They had John Cena in Fast 9 and he was a bad guy, but of course, John Cena being the blue-eyed boy, they couldn't keep him, spoilers, as a bad guy. He had to become a good guy and become one of the family. But Jason Momoa in Fast 10 was brilliant. I thought he was fantastic. Every time he was in a scene, he would chew it up, and his character was the perfect foil to Vin Diesel's boring, looking like a boulder in every scene, rigid, lacked emotion, lacked any kind of acting chops at all. This isn't a spoiler, but there's a particular scene with Jason Momoa in the film in Fast 10 where he's having a conversation with two people that end up being dead, and he's put tape on their face to make them look like they're smiling, and he's painting his nails, he's got his hair up in buns, and he's just completely bonkers. And I mean, it caused a bit of a stir, and it's really dark, but it is hysterical. And for me, that is the kind of tone that the film should be. It should be like Jason Momoa's character seems to get it, that these guys are they take themselves far too seriously. And Dante, that's his name. I was trying to think of his name while I was talking. And Dante is the complete opposite. He doesn't take anything seriously. He is a complete psycho. Don't get me wrong. But he's a really, really good, and I just find him absolutely hysterical. He's camp, but then he turns nuts at the turn of a dime, and he just seems to play it. It's surprisingly nuanced, actually, and he's the perfect foil for Vin Diesel. But again, the biggest drawback to his character was that this character was supposedly in Fast 5. Way back 5 films ago, and at the beginning of the film they retcon him into the timeline, and all of a sudden he's back in the 10th film and but it's just so much convoluted stuff that why couldn't they just create him as a new villain? Why did they have to have a huge lengthy backstory and really kind of shoehorn him into it all? One of the other issues I have, and this is a very, very touchy subject, but I shall try and navigate it with political correctness. But the boy that plays Vin Diesel's son in the film. Now, the mother of the boy, Little B as he's called, or Brian, of course, named after Brian O'Connor, obviously, rest in peace. But his mother was from Rio de Janeiro. Okay, Vin Diesel was from LA. I want to know why they've cast an African American child to play his son. The baby, he first saw the baby a couple of films ago in the Fast 9. He was a little boy. They've completely changed the ethnicity of the child, and I don't get it. And there's a real continuity problem there. And maybe it's just me, but I'm sure there's more people out there that are probably have thought or have said the same thing as me. But it's just something, again, that sticks in my craw. And, again, much like the previous films, they've got the technical, conveniently technical jargon. Oh, I'm going to hack this to stop this from happening. Oh, I've got a computer, I can do anything. And, and it's just all that, they made it far too talky. Far too much of this. Ludacris he's a great, and his character is great in the films, and he's been quite a highlight over the last few films. But backdoor, I can hack into this, and we can do this computer to stop that from happening, and we can stop these missiles from launching from this submarine, and it's too much, just too much. All people want to see is just people having fun, and this is not fun for me. It's just too much. Maybe I'm a little bit jaded now with the series on its 10th installment. I don't know, but it's all a little bit too wordy for me. Spent quite a few minutes slamming the film now. I'm going to talk about some of the good bits. There's some really good action in it, which is all I want to see. From these films is cars doing crazy things and planes and like even when they went into space. I think it was in Fast and Furious 9, I think it was. Even that, as ridiculous as it was quite fun. Just want to see, that's all I want to see, is good action sequences. And there's quite a few of those. A particular highlight is in the first half an hour of the film is in Rome, when they're chasing a big, sounds ridiculous as I'm talking about it, a big round bomb that ends up being on fire, rolling down the streets of Rome towards the Vatican, and they have to stop it with motorbikes and cars. Again, it sounds ridiculous as I say it out loud, but it does happen, and it is good. It's well put together. It's completely over the top, and that, but it is what it is. That's a good thing that goes towards the film, is that it's got good action, and the acting was alright. Probably the side story that I was more invested in was the John Cena storyline. I mean, I'm a huge wrestling fan anyway, so anything with John Cena in, as long as there's a good role, I like to watch it, because I think John Cena is a good actor. Even though the character that he plays in Fast 10 is the complete opposite to what he was in Fast 9. There's not a lot of character continuity. He doesn't. Anyway, why am I not surprised? It lacks continuity. That side story was, that kind of camaraderie he has with little Brian, the little boy, Vin Diesel's son. It was a side story, but I found myself more invested in that than actually the main plot. Again, I'm using the little bunny ears as plot. There's some good fight sequences. There's one between Michelle Rodriguez and Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron and some bad guys that Dante they were Charlize Theron's character's villains, and then Dante comes in, turns them all on his side, and then Charlize Theron it's very convoluted, but it's a good fight sequence anyway. There are some good positive elements to it, and it is an entertaining romp and that, but the characters just take themselves way too seriously. So, to kind of sum up, there's a lot of this film that I didn't like, a lot of things that I didn't understand, some interesting creative choices, let's put it that way, which is a nice way of putting it. And really, for me, the only redeeming quality is probably the good action sequences. They're all very well put together. So as far as giving it a rating, you know, it's a 10th installment, the first half of the franchise finale, or so we've been told. You know, by at this point, I'm just very tired of all the usual tropes in these films. So I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. I'll give it a 6 because it's not really bad. But it's not really good either. It's kind of middling, it's mediocre. It's certainly not the strongest entry into the Fast and Furious franchise. Lots of F's, lots of F's. Which I was kind of hoping now that it was leading towards the end of the franchise, that it was going to be a really strong entry and that. But what it did do was it left it on a cliffhanger. I'm not going to tell you what it is in case you want to watch this film, which I'm not saying don't watch it. If you're into that kind of thing, then by all means watch it. It is a fun film. But it did leave it on a cliffhanger and hopefully sets it up for what's to follow in the final film. Whether it's going to be the final film, I don't know, because these films kind of have become a bit of a cash grab, because they have been very successful. So we'll see. But Fast 10 sets up the beginning of Fast 11. It sets it on a big cliffhanger, so we're gonna have to wait a little while to get any kind of resolution. So there's that to take into account. So yeah, I'll give it a 6 out of 10, and for me, I think that's me being generous. So there we have it. I think I've made my feelings quite clear about the film. I did say back in our previous video, I think it was my Logan one, that I had a few things to say about the film, and you know, I don't like to slam these films, but I think a lot of the time it's maybe me being jaded. I'm sure there's loads of people out there that have different opinions. You know, maybe some people think that Vin Diesel walks on water and these films can do no wrong, but I'm not one of them. You know, I have to be true to myself, and myself is saying to me, no, not this film, not this time. Hopefully the 11th film will be the big finale, the one that will redeem the franchise, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, that's what I've thought about Fast 10. Thank you for watching. Please, if you feel the need to see more of this or hear more of this, you can watch my back catalogue. They're all on this channel. And what I've been meaning to do, and I keep forgetting about it, is I'm going to put my website, not a website, it's email address at the bottom of the screen right down here. And so please email me if you have any suggestions, any thoughts, or just say, Geeks, you are rubbish, we are not listening to you. I don't care, I don't mind, whatever. Water off a duck's back as far as I'm concerned. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me go rant about this film, not in a good way necessarily. And for my next video, as a little teaser, I'm going to be dipping my feet into new waters for my next one. So on the 27th of January, which is next weekend, is the WWE Royal Rumble. And now I am a huge WWE fan, and I will be watching the WWE Royal Rumble, and I will be doing a video similar to this, my thoughts and my opinions, on video for probably on the Sunday, because it's been shown late on the Saturday night. So I'll probably do one on Sunday. That'll be my next video if I don't think of anything else between now and then. I've got a whole week, so maybe I'll probably think of something, probably throw something together beforehand. But if not, that is likely to be my next video. So thank you for watching Geek Out and Speak Out. My name is Geeks. I shall see you next time.